Groundhogs, maple syrup, and Mercedes drama. Must be the Canadian Grand Prix weekend, eh? All right, so it's Sunday afternoon, and the Canadian Grand Prix race has not started yet, but we did watch the sprint last night, and so I'm going to make a dessert, and let's talk about what happened at the sprint. Some interesting action. I'm going to be making this Canadian dessert called buttercups. They're like little tiny pecan pies, but I'm making it with maple syrup. So I am notoriously bad at making any kind of crust, knowing that I would probably butcher it. I just went and bought a pre-made pie crust for this. I like to make everything from scratch, but some things, it's just, if Jade were here, Jade's at work. If Jade were here, I'd have them make the pie crust because they're much better with things like that. I just overwork everything. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 4-inch round cookie cutter, and I'm going to cut circles in here, and then I'm going to fit them into the pie crust right here to make a tiny little crust in the pan. Let's talk about the poor little groundhogs. I looked it up. There's been about 5 or 6 groundhog deaths over the past 10 years or so. Villeneuve is located on an island. Park rangers actually do is they gather them up and round them up right before the race to protect them from getting injured and hoping that they won't wander onto the track, but they still manage to wander on the track. Yeah, so yesterday during practice, Alex Albon hit one. Last year, Lewis Hamilton hit one. They do everything that they can to prevent this, but those poor little groundhogs, they're so freaking cute. By the way, in Canada, they don't call them groundhogs, they call them marmots. You may have noticed I'm wearing my Sergio Checo Perez hoodie, and that is because, I'm also wearing socks. Look, check out my socks. Why am I wearing Checo's clothes today? Because he was amazing yesterday. Cadillac, happy to even finish a race. And for him to start at 16th and make his way up to 11th, come on, it just shows how talented of a driver he is. And always was a penalty of 10 seconds. And so that did put him back down to 14, but it doesn't matter because what does matter is the Cadillac is starting to look competitive. And I'm pretty excited about that. All right, so this is what they look like. Oh, and the other thing I wanted to mention is, Lance Stroll, love him or hate him, say what you want about him. This was his home race weekend, and home race curse strikes again. These go in the freezer now for 15 to 20 minutes while I make the filling. All right, so I'm putting together softened butter, brown sugar, and maple syrup. A vanilla, add egg, 1 egg, a vanilla, no salt. All right, so while I fill these up, let's talk about the real drama that happened during the race.